Hi, my name is Ethan Cusick, and today we're going to be going over how to make a small zipper pouch out of some scrap fabric that you have laying around. This project is going to be great for anybody who is just getting into sewing and wants to, get their hands wet. This bag is great for, everyday essentials, makeup, toiletries, pens and pencils, sewing notions, really anything you could use a little bit more organization in your life for, then this project is going to be just a great way to get started. It's got a flat bottom construction, so it's really great to just stand up. Yeah, so let's get into the video. Now let's move on to what we need for this project. So to start off, we're gonna want some rulers. I really like these clear quilting rulers with all the grid lines on them. There's some material here, so I prefer for the exterior to be a little bit thicker. This is some Cordura here, just some scrap fabric I had laying around at work. And this is just some, very thin linen lining, some pattern weights or any kind of weights for your pattern if you are going to be using one and not drawing straight onto the fabric, as we'll talk about in a moment. We're going to have some optional cordage sewing clips or pins for this project. I'm going to be using sewing clips, so that's why I have them out here. You can use pins as well if you have those. Scissors. Any kind of scissors works. If you have fabric scissors, it's going to be a lot easier. Some pencils or pens, water soluble if you have them. Any unwanted marks that make it onto the fabric can just be easily washed out. And the zipper here, this is just a length of zipper I had laying around, some more scrap. Any size zipper works, but it will, depending on how long it is, it's going to limit how wide you can make the opening essentially. So keep that in mind if you're just kind of using some scrap zippers laying around to, maybe mess with the pattern or mess with the dimensions a little bit just to make sure that you can work with it. We have a pressing board and some muslin here. So that's gonna be all the materials you need. Again, fabric, you can kind of choose whatever you want. This is gonna be like a scrap bag project, but if you want that rigid, want to stand up on its own a little bit, then I would recommend some more rigid exterior material. Oh, and if you did want to use a thinner material, I would highly recommend some interfacing. So you can get interfacing at the fabric store or online, and this just helps stiffen up some of the thinner fabrics that you might want to use. I would get the iron-on interfacing, and it has one side that has like sticky dots on it, and you place that side against the fabric and you can iron it on to give it a little bit more rigidity. So now we have our fabric laid out here. I'm using, again, some Cordura and some linen here. So the first thing we're gonna want to do is probably press this out and make it a little bit smoother. You can just go ahead and fold this in half, roughly the size of your pattern here. And then we'll just place this here. We're then going to trace out our pattern. So I will go ahead and include the dimensions for the one I'm making currently. I don't have a website or anything quite yet, so I can't actually post patterns. I will be doing that at some point just to kind of make things a little bit easier, but I will put some dimensions up on screen here. This is a very, very simple thing to just do on paper or even just straight onto the fabric. You don't even need a pattern, so yeah, I'll put that on the screen right now. Moving on now, I'm going to grab pattern weight to keep this in place. And I'm going to grab an appropriate colored pencil here, and I'm just going to mark the points. So you could just trace the pattern out. Everybody does things a little bit differently. I'm just marking the points right now, and I'll go back over and actually draw the lines. So that'd be kind of hard to see on your end currently, but I am just connecting all the dots essentially. Okay, so we're now going to cut it out using scissors. or rotary cutter as well. Some people like rotary cutters. I am not the hugest fan of them. I think there are some materials like ripstop nylon they work really well with, but personally I prefer scissors 9 times out of 10. I think one of the reasons I really like this bag is it is really, really helpful to understand the basics of construction when you first start sewing. It's very low risk, and you're not using much material, so you can fuck it up a couple times and really not do too much damage to your wallet, especially if you're using scraps laying around. So I'd highly recommend that anybody who is following along, if you're interested in sewing, but you're maybe just watching, just for some entertainment, if you have access to a sewing machine, that's kind of the only thing you need here. I think you can find everything else kind of around your house to make this project. So I would say that, anybody who is curious, try it out if you have the access to the materials and sewing machine. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut out the exterior. Okay, now if you haven't yet, let's cut our zipper length. These ones here, we're going to be attaching the zipper pull separately, but it'll work the same. Just make sure that your zipper is a little bit farther in if you have a zipper pull on it before you go ahead and cut. But we're just going to line this up with the edges. So this is the top side, this is the bottom side. The bottom side has larger squares cut out of it to give it that, that wider bottom, and then kind of out there. Ooh, actually, do not use your nice fabric scissors for this. Let's grab our shittier scissors to cut through this plastic here. Beautiful. Yep, so that lines up. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and make some zipper tabs. So I'll show you what those are in just a moment. It'll start to make sense, but we're gonna start by taking some of our exterior material, ironing it out flat, make it a little bit easier to work with. And then what we are going to do is take our zipper here, and we're going to find the width of it. So this guy is coming in at right at around 1 3/8. So we're going to double that measurement, which is going to be, I believe, 2 3/4. And then we're going to make a length of about 3 inches. So take your zipper measurement, double it, and then the other dimension that we are going to draw out real quick is going to be about 3 inches. So we'll go 3, and we'll go to 2 3/8. Or sorry, 2 3/4 for this guy. Okay. And we'll just line these guys back up, this is why I really like these quilting rulers, because you have all of these grid lines here that help you keep everything square, which if you were doing by eye, you can mess it up pretty easily, even if it looks right. Again, use what you have at home, but if you are planning to sew quite frequently, these are not that expensive on Amazon, and they will come in handy for more things than just this little sewing stuff. So we're gonna cut this piece out. You know, this doesn't need to be perfect, but the closest we can get it better. Okay, we'll set these scraps aside for now. Get our board back. And then, let's see, this is the, so the width-wise, we're going to go ahead and fold this in half, like so. And actually, we want our exterior facing out. So, like that. Let's grab our iron. Let's give it a press. Okay. We're gonna fold it in half again on both sides. So I like to go a little bit before the crease. Sometimes going all the way up to the crease can cause problems. Do not burn your fingers here. I know this looks scary. Oh, there goes my iron beeping. Yeah, so we're just folding in to the crease here. Okay. And then I like to just go ahead and fold it in half and give it another quick one and press this out. It's hot, so be careful. But yeah, press this out. And then we have a little, essentially a bias binding, that we will use to cover the ends of our zippers for a cleaner look. So, although the zippers will be hidden, I mean, I'll show you on this bag here what we're working with. Let's turn this light on. So, we have these little ends here. Alright, so it just gives the zipper a little bit cleaner of a look. And you can adjust the width and dimensions of this guy however you want to. You know, if you want your zipper to be coming out, or a zipper tab to be coming out all the way out here, just make this a little bit longer. And the reason we cut it so long, as you can see it's too long, we're just gonna cut it in half. So I'm just gonna fold this in half real quick, like so. Sweet. Trying to be super accurate, you know. It should fit. Okay. Yep, we got a little bit hanging over too. So we'll go ahead and sew this on now, and then we're going to cut these edges off. So while we are here as well, we might want to grab some cordage, or webbing, you know, your choice, whatever you want to use. I'm going to cut a little bit, you know. How much is this? This is probably about, yeah, about 5.5, 6 inches. It should be good for a little loop. Okay, and we'll just set this aside for now, just so we don't forget. Okay, so we're just going to line up the edge here of this zipper tab with the edge of the zipper. Okay, we're going to put it under our machine. About a, you know, we're going to be right here following this line. However you want to do it is fine. This is just how I'm doing it. Okay, and so. Okay, now that we've sewn our zipper feet on, or zipper tabs on, sorry, we're going to just cut off the excess, like so. Now that we have our zipper done with the tabs attached, we're going to grab our cut pieces of fabric here, and we're going to do one by one. So how this is going to work is we are going to sew the liner and the face on at the same time. It's a little confusing, but it's actually not that bad. So we're going to attach the wrong side. You know, we want these tiny corners is where the zipper goes. So we're going to line our zipper up right here, face side of the zipper up, and then that is going to be this side here is going to want to be the face side of your liner. If your liner does not have a face or a back, or you just don't care, then it doesn't matter. But if you do have a print or anything that you want to show, that is going to be this side. Okay, we line that up, and then we are going to take the face side. So this does have a face and a back side. We're going to place the face side towards the zipper here, because what's going to happen is once this is sewn, it's going to flip out like this, and then we are going to be sitting kind of like that. So we're going to do this guy here. Place it as best as you can. Try to line up the corners. You know, the zipper tabs are maybe a little bit longer, so try to just line up a zipper in between them, and then the face and the inner and the outer piece of fabric together. And then we'll use some sewing clips. So let's do this. Okay, so we're just going to essentially clip all along the edge here, making sure to capture zipper, inner, and outer fabric. Okay, now that we have it back over at the machine, we're going to sew. So pull your threads out a little bit. Take your first clip off. And let's line it up. I'm going to do about the width of the presser foot here. That's lining up to about 1/4 inch. I think that works well, especially to leave us some room to let us do our top stitch. Okay, and so when we get to the zipper tab, you can see it, this bump, so hard to see, right here. We're going to reach inside. And we are going to, with the needle fully down, that's important, or else you're going to lose your stitch. We are going to grab that zipper, lift the presser foot up, and pull it back. Okay. And we'll just continue stitching. So now that we have it pulled open, this is the liner. As you can see, face side of the liner, this will be the inside, outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it like this. Try to keep your liner pressed over here. And you know, if you want to, you can actually go ahead and press this out on the iron. It's kind of personal preference again, but sometimes it does make it easier. But we're just going to do a top stitch. And I'm going to try to line up, point it out to you. We're going to line up this edge here with the inside edge of the presser foot here, this outside edge of the presser foot with the edge of the zipper itself. So we're just going to try to kind of maintain alignment the whole time while we stitch. Okay, so this is our finished top stitch. Looks pretty decent. Maintain consistency throughout the whole way. So we're just going to repeat that entire process all over again, but with the other side of the zipper. So yeah, we're going to just do a little montage of that and call it good. Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and tack this in place here. So what you can see is you can construct this in a couple different ways. I prefer to actually pull the lining out to make sure we don't get an inconsistent stitch on the lining. What happens is you see on these corners, they're not actually lining up anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this forward just a little bit until they meet up. And I'm just gonna give it a little tack right here. Okay. We're gonna do that all 4 sides. Okay, so now we should be looking something like this, where we have liners connected from the inside, okay? and we have our top stitch done here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take each side and bring it together, just like this. And we're essentially going to sew the edges all around, and then we're going to flip it all inside out. To be able to flip it inside out, we're going to want to leave a little bit of the liner open, and we'll sew that closed at the very end. But I would leave a couple of inches, probably about this much, open so that you can pull it through. Depending on how thin or thick your materials are, you're going to want to leave more or less to be able to get through. It's not too big of a deal. You can always rip the threads if you need to and re-tack them. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing now. You can pin it if you want to, but I think it's easy enough just to line it up by hand. Again, personal preference, pins or clips if you want to. I'm not going to be doing that. So yeah, let's take it back over to the machine and actually sew up all these sides. Okay, so we're going to line up all of these edges now. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you start. The only sides we're going to be stitching to begin with, though, is going to be this edge here, this edge here, and this edge here. So we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. So the liner, and then the exterior. And then we'll go ahead and pull these corners out, kind of like this, and sew along them. It'll be easier to see in a minute here, but we're just going to go ahead and sew this all up, and then close the corners. I'm going to be doing about a 1/4 inch seam allowance here as well. If you are new, then I would maybe do a little bit larger, but realize this is going to affect the total size of the bag. Regardless, this bag should fit fine based on the patterns I kind of pulled up. If you do a little bit larger, maybe closer to a 1/2 inch, but I like a 1/4 inch because it actually reduces the amount of seams that are on the inside that you're gonna feel and bulk up the bag. So I like smaller seam allowances, and that is just my personal preference. Okay, now we're onto the liner. So what we're going to want to do for the liner, again, at this bottom seam here, which is going to be the bottom of the bag, we're going to leave a little bit of it open. So we're going to leave, a little bit open, and I'll show you how to do that. Like to back stitch, then we're going to raise it up, bring it through, and start again here. So we're going to pull them point and point. We're going to pull it straight like this, right? So both the seams are lined up. Just like that. Last is going to be these corners up here. So this can be a little bit tricky, but we're going to do the same thing that we just did. We're going to pull these corners out to match the width of the zipper. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and place the exterior down. Okay, and this might be helpful to use a sewing clip for. So we'll get it all lined up. And we'll go ahead and chuck a sewing clip on here. Hey. Okay, so we keep everything nice and lined up while we position it on our machine. Okay, so this is where we're going to be placing our, nylon webbing or loop of thread here or string here. So what we're gonna do is get this all lined up. We're actually gonna just fold this like this. Okay, and we're gonna put it on the inside here. So we want to put it on the side where the exterior material is, because it'll be showing the outside, right? If you put it in here, you'd have a loop on the inside. So you can do that too if you want like a little key hoop or something like that. You could put one on the inside liner as well, but I want this to be on the exterior. So we're just gonna put this in here. Okay. And then I'm gonna try to get it fairly lined up at the middle. It might be easier to throw the out to the outside there. Okay. Get this all lined up. Okay, we want the seam allowance in the center. We want the seam in the center there. And we're just gonna clip this again. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna push this back a little bit. We're gonna flip this inside out. So we have our liner here. This is the hole on the bottom of the liner. Right, so now we're looking like this. We got two separate bags here, essentially. We are going to start feeding this through. Now we have the bag inside out, essentially, right? So we're gonna open the zipper up. And I'm gonna separate them again. Now we're separating them right side out. So we're gonna take, so here's our corner stitches here. Let's pull this out a little bit. So our corner here and our corner here. Okay. So in between the two corners, we're going to pull the bottom section and just kind of get this lined up with the seam, pull it tight, right? So we have, this is our opening right here. And we're gonna take that and put it under the machine. So we're gonna pull it tight again. Try to get this all on the inside. Okay, let me snip some of this too, just to keep it from sticking out. Be helpful. Yeah, can be such a pain with these thin fabrics sometimes. Okay, now that we have it, go a little bit before the actual opening, and we are going to our stitch back just a little bit on the inside of the bag now. Right, so now it looks a little bit funky from the inside, but you're really never going to see it, and it's kind of the reality of liners. We have a loop here. To the inside. And that is pretty much it. Okay, so today we went over how to make a quick zipper bag out of some scrap fabrics. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could hit the subscribe button, like and comment with any questions you have, and I'll be responding to everybody. Thank you. Have a good one.